2 hours ago, we hit the ISIS thugs in Syria who were trying to regroup after their decimation by the Trump administration 5 years ago.
Two American troops and a U.S. civilian interpreter were killed in Syria after an ambush carried out by an Islamic State IS fighter. According to U.S. CENTCOM, 3 additional U.S. service members were wounded in the assault, during which the attacker was confronted and shot dead. U.S. President Donald Trump mourned the death of great American patriots, and on Truth Social he informed that it was an ISIS attack against the U.S. and Syria and promised a serious retaliation. U.S. forces delivered what Trump promised, a very serious retaliation. U.S. Central Command launched large-scale strikes against dozens of Islamic State targets in Syria in retaliation for an attack on American personnel. Not the beginning of a war, it is a declaration of vengeance. The U.S. War Secretary wrote Hull while informing the world about U.S.'s retaliatory airstrikes on ISIS infrastructure. At the direction of the Commander-in-Chief, CENTCOM forces carried out strikes on more than 70 targets across multiple locations in central Syria using fighter jets, attack helicopters, and artillery. The Jordanian armed forces also provided support with fighter aircraft. The operation involved the use of over 100 precision-guided munitions aimed at known ISIS infrastructure and weapons facilities. Reportedly, the strikes were carried out using F-15 Eagle fighter jets, A-10 Thunderbolt ground attack aircraft, and AH-64 Apache helicopters. Jordanian F-16 fighter jets and HIMARS rocket artillery were also deployed in the operation. Following the December 13th attack on U.S. and Syrian personnel, U.S. and partner forces carried out 10 operations in Syria and Iraq, leading to the killing or capture of 23 terrorist operatives.
This operation is critical to preventing ISIS from inspiring terrorist plots and attacks against the U.S. homeland. We will continue to relentlessly pursue terrorists who seek to harm Americans and our partners across the region.
A Syria War Monitor said U.S. retaliatory strikes killed at least 5 people, including the leader and members of an ISIS cell. The U.S. military has not disclosed casualty figures. ISIS has not claimed the attack on U.S. troops, but has since carried out 2 assaults on Syrian forces, killing 4 soldiers in Idlib. The attack tested warming U.S.-Syria ties a year after Bashar Assad's ouster, as Trump said Syria was fighting alongside U.S. troops and that his new blue-eyed boy, al-Shara, was extremely angry and disturbed by this attack. Following the U.S. strikes, Syria's foreign ministry on December 20th said the assault underscores the urgent necessity of strengthening international cooperation to combat terrorism in all its forms. In another follow-up post, Syria reaffirmed its commitment to fighting ISIS and ensuring that it has no safe havens on Syrian territory. Post-U.S. strikes on ISIS facilities, in a Truth Social post on December 20th, Trump reaffirmed his support for Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara, saying he was fully in support of the U.S. operation. He also issued an all-caps warning to IS against any further attacks on American personnel. All terrorists who are evil enough to attack Americans are hereby warned. You will be hit harder than you have ever been hit before if you, in any way, attack or threaten the USA, the president wrote. On the same day, during a speech in North Carolina, the president hailed the Operation Hawkeye Strike as massive, that eliminated the ISIS thugs in Syria who were trying to regroup.
I'm also pleased to announce that just 2 hours ago, we hit the ISIS thugs in Syria who were trying to regroup after their decimation by the Trump administration following the war. I ordered a massive strike on the terrorists that killed our 3 great patriots last week. 2 soldiers, 1 interpreter, all great people. And it was very successful. It was precision. We hit every site flawlessly, and we are restoring peace through strength all over the world. I settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, ended the war in Gaza, and got the release of hostages, both living and dead, and created peace in the Middle East. We have peace in the Middle East, first time in 3 years, peace.
Earlier on December 18th, President Trump and the First Lady attended a dignified transfer ceremony for 2 U.S. National Guard members and a U.S. civilian who were killed in Syria. The solemn event was held at Dover Air Force Base in the U.S. state of Delaware. But what were American troops doing in Syria? Well, U.S. forces have been stationed in Syria since 2015 to train partner units as part of the fight against IS. Syria has recently joined an international coalition targeting IS and has pledged to work with the United States. In November, Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa, a former jihadist and al-Qaeda leader whose coalition ousted Bashar al-Assad's government in 2024, met Trump at the White House. The visit was apparently a start of a new era between the 2 nations. Let's replay the moment a reporter put Trump on the spot over the ISIS attack on U.S. forces in Syria. Watch what Trump said.
On Syria, Mr. President, on the U.S. troops killed in Syria over the weekend, why do we have troops in Syria?
Because we're trying to make sure that there's going to be and remain peace in the Middle East, and Syria is a big part of it. The new leader is a strong person, and that's what you need. This is a rough part of the world, and it's been amazing what's taken place in Syria. We got rid of Assad, we got rid of other people that were really bad people and that were in the way of peace in the Middle East. You know, we have legitimate peace in the Middle East, first time in 3,000 years, and we have 59 countries backing it. And we'll see what happens with Hamas. We'll see what happens with Hezbollah. But regardless, I mean, we have countries that want to go in and clean that out if we want them to do it. But they said, in the case of Hamas, they said that they're going to disarm, and we're going to find out whether or not that's true. Hezbollah in Lebanon has been a problem. We'll see what happens there. But there is legitimate, large-scale peace in the Middle East. And if there weren't, we wouldn't have been able to make all of those deals that we've made with the various countries. They would have never been able to do that. If, for instance, if we didn't, with that B-2 bomber right there on the desk, if we didn't, of which we just ordered a lot more of the newer version, totally stealth. They could not see it. They knew it was coming. They had no idea where it was. It was pretty amazing, actually. Every bomb hit its mark perfectly, despite CNN trying to say differently. They didn't know. They just, hoped. They hoped that we didn't, but it turned out that they did. Atomic Energy Commission confirmed it. So did Iran confirm it. They got knocked to hell. But if we didn't knock out their nuclear capability, we would have never had peace in the Middle East, because you would have had a dark cloud hanging over Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and all the other countries, and they would have never, ever been able to sign an agreement.
On the Syria ambush of U.S. forces, do you still have confidence in the Syrian president?
I do. I mean, this had nothing to do with him. This is a part of Syria that they really don't have much control over. And it was a surprise. He feels very badly about it. He's working on it. He's a strong man. And no, this had nothing to do with the Syrian government. This had to do with ISIS.
What will the U.S. response be?
As a response, they'll be hit hard.